Alright, so I was thinking about this. I was watching Damie Lee talk about public toilets and America's public toilet problem. As a homeless person in the past, it really affected me a lot. So I ended up honestly thinking about this before, and I'm pretty sure I might have seen that exact same like documentary, which is what kind of got me to think about it. But I might not have. Anyways, I was thinking about it as automated toilets and how insanely impossible it seems like they are, right? And my first initial concept was like, all right, so here's a bag, right? There's like a bag, could be any kind of cloth that you can ultimately stretch and change the amount of tightness, right, between all these little tiny gaps, okay? What that allows for you to do is pick up all these syringes, all these little dust and more microby things, and get rid of it with UV, some basic electricity, and vibrations, lower amount of pressure, right? So vacuums are usually really, really good at being able to kill most things, but so too are the other three. And when you think about that, it really helps it out. But you know what the problem, however, is that if you don't have it anchored, you can't make it kind of like cars that have those clear wraps, right? It's like, well, cars. I mean, that's plastic. And, we could easily do that. Why don't we use plastic? As plastic breaks, it's not able to handle it for as long as you would like it to. All right, if you make it a bit more of a rounder shape on the inside, you can contour for that given shape on the inside. You just need to be able to have it so that way the toilet has enough of a seat and enough of the areas for you to wash your hands and still store all of that good old fashioned paper that you use to dry everything with, or some kind of air system, right, to dry. And that's if they wash their hands, to be fair. That's a whole other problem. But, the infrastructure thing is what really got me. Okay, so, like, if you don't understand, America's a weird, weird place. There's a lot of sewage infrastructure right next to main large buildings where a lot of homeless are, which effectively means that they're really actually pretty decently easy to set up. However, when you're not like that, next to one of those buildings, let's say it's a park, it's a national forest, compost makes a lot more sense. You know what I mean? And that becomes something that you can have stay down low and move on out. But of course, when you have a bag, you're going to lift them up, right? And there are syringes and all this other stuff. And you can't possibly separate sewage from the bag. You know what I mean? Like, I already know where someone's going to try and go with that. The bag, the cloth. The cloth is a bag on the inside. Yeah, that's what that is. Yeah, that's pretty simple to do. Yeah. Um, you know, you use it pretty often. You have trash bags. It's pretty easy to make them work reusably, consistently, over and over and over again. And when you think about that, it's like, well, why don't we? It's not that expensive. It's pretty cheap to maintain, pretty cheap to make. It doesn't take a lot of research and development because we already have fiberglass that we can coat with metal and use a Chinese finger trap idea and design to effectively cinch it closed. And that's just weaving patterns at that point and anchor points on the inside. As a result, it takes a lot less for you to maintain that. And where does the bag go? I can't imagine where it would go on the inside of this structure. Why? You got a cup, don't you? You have a tumbler? There a vacuum in the inside? That's called insulation. It's pretty easy to do. It's not hard to do this. Y'all have seen those things pop out, right? You know, those silicone cups or bowls. Well, they have a different version, which is effectively a tensegrity back in the day. I think we were all crazy about that fad for that table. You pull it, you twist it, it locks. It's just tension. Easy to do. That's all it is. So, yeah, you have space and you can flip it. And if you roll it, effectively as you're taking it out, yeah, you can use that pretty easily. Now, it has nothing to do with what Damie Lee said at all. It's just a problem I myself also thought about. And then I realized a lot of people hate homeless people, irregardless of anything they do. That and it's super expensive. It's gonna be it's so expensive. It's like it's not that expensive. It's really not. You can dig a hole in the ground. You can make compost out of that fecal matter and urine. You can easily do this. That trash is easily stored somewhere else. As you roll it, you can do that. Have it slide off to another fucking area to go into a trash can. Oh my god, it's impossible. You know? That's the problem, though. It's like, no, I will spray it down with all the sanitizational fluid. Chemicals. Chemicals cost money. Chemicals suck. Chemicals are never good enough to really actually do that because anything that you could have on the inside has to be able to handle them over enough time. It's always kind of annoying after a while. You know? So, for me, it was just like, well, rich people hate homeless people. That's facts. They drive down their property value, and considering that's like a $96 trillion market or some shit like that, they're keen to make sure they can make that keep going. They don't have human empathy or sympathy. And if you really press them with a good design, they don't really have any way to fight back. And when they suddenly realize that, oh, it'll work too, and oh, yes, no, we have extra money, we have more than enough money, I don't care. You know, I have found out over time with enough experience is it's not about money when you get that rich. It's never about money. It's about influence, power. Like, look, us here in America, they decide to go all the way over into Africa to fuck up an entire country's ecosystem, to get a bunch of oil, drive a bunch of different civil war activity, and for what it's worth, no one's stopping them, and we still subsidize them here in America. We do. We do that. They get away with it because it's power. They have power. They want power. That's it. It has nothing to do with anything other than that. Now, let me see those designs! Go fucking make your own designs. It's not hard to do this. None of it is hard. When you realize that it's not architecture, it's not engineering, in fact, it's not even just me that's come up with similar ideas, you realize it's just people that can bullshit and say that they tried to do something that looks like they're doing, but it's meant and intentionally meant, by the way, to fail. It's meant to fail. It's meant to be impossible. They want it to not succeed. And people often will lie to themselves and say they are not like this. And they are. And that's basically what it is. But yeah, no, you can clean it. You can do all the things. It's not that hard. Yeah.